Hello and welcome to SkySwitch University. In this session, we want to cover creating your product catalog and understanding taxes in regard to billing services. Now on the doc site, most of everything we're going to cover in this session is in the billing services rev.io section. And the first thing I want to point out is there is an example reseller product catalog in PDF form. So I'm gonna open that up and let's discuss the product catalog. Now we've added this reseller product catalog example for you to give you ideas about maybe how you want to put together your product catalog. We're going to show you initially, you'll see up here at the top of the form or the catalog, this example, monthly charges. And then towards the bottom, you're going to see the one-time charges. And then lastly, we will cover some of the usage rate plans that you might want to put into place. So let's start at the top. Some of the monthly charges that you're going to want to have in your product catalog or potentially have in your product catalog we show here. Now let me state this about the product catalog. A good thing to do probably is to pull out your MSA and to have it handy while you consider, what products and services that you want to offer to your customers. Because one thing, of course, you're going to want to calculate is margin. How much margin, what do I want to charge for prices, and then what margin am I going to potentially see. So what we have here is some hosted voice extension plans. Now I want to point out that with the rev.io platform, we can have monthly plans that include free minutes or a certain amount of minutes. So in this hosted voice extension plan, this example reseller product would have 500 free minutes, and then after that 500 free minutes, we would charge 2 cents overage. Now let me state that this 500 free minutes is per extension. So let's say you had a customer that had 10 extensions or 10 users, right? And in that case, they would have 5,000 free minutes, and it would look as though it were a bucket to all 10 users. So one user might get 700 minutes, the other one might get 400, etc. It's not going to line up just 500 minutes per extension per user. It's going to be a bucket depending on how many extensions that you sell. And then after they go through the 5,000 minutes, then in that case it would be a 2 cent per minute overage charge. We are showing that you can put terms in on plans. You can put you can go month to month. You can also go unlimited. This is unlimited calling to US and Canada, 1-year term, month to month term. And so we're giving you some example pricing here as well. Here's some SIP trunk monthly services, and you'll see unlimited calling as well as unlimited inbound on these SIP trunks, 1,500 minutes, 2,500 minutes. And these are just example, ideas. With a 3.5 cent per minute overage on those. You'll see that in some cases resellers will charge for DIDs, new US and Canada DID, new US and Canada toll-free DID. Sometimes our resellers will charge for the actual Office Manager scope user portal access, directory listing, to put that on a number on a monthly basis, call center agent supervisor, call center queue. There's an audio conference room, audio conference bridge, right, $4.95 a month, an auto attendant per AA, $19.99 a month. So some of our resellers do a lot of a la carte type pricing. Some do bundled type pricing where they put it all together in a bundle. Others do a combination of the two. So we're giving you ideas so that you can decide what you want to do. And you have a web conference room, web conference video add-on, And then as you get into the one-time charges, you'll start seeing like a setup charge for the auto attendant, or a setup charge for audio conference bridge, or even charging for auto attendant programming. And here's LNP, one-time charges, and then of course just installation charges like on-site installation and training, or on-site installation and training per phone extension. And then down toward the bottom, you're going to see we gave some examples of hardware, phones, Polycoms. Down towards the bottom, you'll see Yealink. So we're giving you an example of hardware that you can then put on your catalog. For example, a Simple WAN network monitoring appliance. That's the Simple WAN unit, and then a setup for that. So I think you're getting the idea. Now, on the bottom here, you have usage rate plans. And certainly in the Rev.io platform, you can charge usage-based rating. You can rate calls, and you can really rate based on anything you want, inbound, outbound, toll-free. So we gave you some examples, and these are pretty common examples that we find with our resellers. You have US and Canada overage, so that would be used with a plan that had like free minutes, like 500 free minutes or whatever. And so this would be the overage plan. Then you'll say US and Canada domestic rate plan. This would be just a straight up plan that would go with like a metered plan, and maybe you want to meter every call on that customer. We have a toll-free 800 inbound rate, 4 cents a minute. Audio conference bridge rate plan, 2 cents a minute, and that's all the callers, participants into an audio conference bridge. So you're going to charge 2 cents per minute per participant into the bridge. We show a fax service rate plan, directory assistance, and 911. You can set up rate plans in Rev that will actually perform a call surcharge or apply a call surcharge when a particular call is made. So like if they called directory assistance, you can charge a certain amount. If they call 911, you can charge a certain amount. So just want you to see that what we need from you in your product catalog as you submit it is what do you want for your monthly charges, what do you want for your one-time charges, and then what do you want to offer for usage rate, your usage rate plans. Okay, so now let's move back over to the doc site, and I'm going to point out a form here, product catalog creation form. So we give you an idea about the form here. We do let you know that once you complete this form, it's going to submit your product catalog to CSI for tax mapping. Now, who is CSI? We give you information here on Compliance Solutions Incorporated. They're based in Florida, Longwood, Florida. Mark Lambert is the president and CEO. He has a great team of people. Now, CSI is they provide the tax database that's integrated with Rev.io. So every time your customer, any of your customers, the tax calculations occur, and then those taxes are then applied onto a statement. The tax database that's calculating those taxes is by Compliance Solutions Incorporated, CSI. Now, so that's going to happen automatically, as you've signed up for billing services through Rev.io, and so those will happen automatically, and that's in with the monthly pricing. Now, we also have negotiated with the Compliance Solutions Incorporated for them to tax map your product. So once you get your product to us, once you fill out the product catalog creation form, this form submits the product catalog to CSI so that they can tax map your product catalog. Once it's tax mapped, we'll get a copy of it to you, as well as we're going to then input that product catalog tax mapped into rev.io, so that then you can select your products and services for your customers. Now, a couple other points on this. First, I want to point out that it'll take 36 to 72 hours for CSI to tax map your product catalog once you submit this form. Okay, so this gives us an opportunity to talk about taxes a little further. So I want to point out that we, within the Compliance Solutions area on the doc site, we have included the CSI Product Mapping Guide. So let me open that up and let's discuss it a minute. And as that's opening, I'm also going to open a copy of a statement. So here's a copy of a statement out of rev.io. It's in generic that we've put together so that you can see what this looks like. So you're going to have your logo at the top. It'll have your that particular customer's information here. It'll have the company information for the customer address, the name and address here, your remit to address here, information in this this field here that will provide the customer information about maybe your terms and service or late payment operation or etc. You know, unbalanced, apply for unbalance, the charges that may apply, etc. Okay, don't want to get tied up too much into that. I just want you to get an idea of what the statement is going to look like, but also the main thing is that I want about taxes. So here we'll see on this statement there's recurring charges, which are your monthly charges. I don't think we have any non-recurring, but if there were non-recurring charges, they would show after the recurring charges, and then you would see those total up. There would be a subtotal, and then you see the taxes here. Now I want to point out taxes are calculated for your customers based on several different things. One, based on the zip code of the customer. So for example, you'll see some taxes on there like gross tax receipts. You might see some municipality taxes. You'll be amazed at how many entities along the way get their fingers into the telecom tax pie. But it happens, and it depends on where your customer is as to what taxes are going to then be put on to their statement, applied to them. And it could be state sales tax, of course. It could be county, it could be city, municipality type taxes. And then so you're going to have those type of taxes, and then you're going to see federal USF, Federal Universal Service Fund. Now this is a federal fee, a federal surcharge tax that will show up on your customer statements. So let me talk about federal USF. Federal USF, the rate of it is determined by the government on a quarterly basis. Typically, the rate's been around 17 or 18%, and they do set it per quarter. Now, as a SkySwitch, as a VoIP reseller, you qualify for what is called safe harbor rate, and that rate is 64.9% of the quarterly USF, whatever that rate is set at. So if it's 18%, then safe harbor rate would be 64.9% of that. Now, most of our resellers then, after speaking to their tax expert, set their what is called PIU, percentage of interstate usage. We see it set from anywhere from 5% to around 30%. The average is probably around 20 to 24%, 25%. So after speaking with your tax expert, and I'll talk about CSI in a minute in that regard, but USF, federal USF, is supposed to be charged on interstate usage. So that's why it's called percentage of interstate usage, your PIU. Your PIU setting is basically telling the government that we believe, or from our calculations, our customers percentage of interstate usage is this amount. So you set it to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25%, whatever you set it to. That's what you're telling the government that you believe your percentage of interstate usage falls on. So the USF, you need to have a tax expert involved in order to help you make that determination. Now, I'm talking to you about taxes, and we need to let you know about taxes, but I want you to understand that SkySwitch is not a tax expert. You need to set your own, you're going to have to set your own taxes. You're going to have to determine your own PIU. Now, you should do that in conjunction with a tax expert, and that's what we recommend. So this gives you a little idea of what it looks like on a statement. All right, so back to the CSI product mapping guide. This guide maps out all the different, so you see in the table of contents here, the VoIP is on page 18. So let's just look at that. This guide maps out all the different tax classes that any products or services can be set at. So let me find the VoIP, and there's a lot of different tax codes. Okay, so here's VoIP. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see this. So in the VoIP area, you have the group code, which is V001, and the group is VoIP non-nomadic. And then you have different item codes. So for example, activation and deactivation charges are one. A lot of times they put zeros in front, so it would be V001001. And then basic service charges. This is the most common for your extensions and those type of things on VoIP. V001002, the basic VoIP non-nomadic basic service charges. And then you have these others, like for example, V001015 would be your VoIP enabled vertical features, and so that's pretty common for like DID charges, etc. Now, when we send when you submit the form and it goes to CSI, your product catalog, for tax mapping, then let me find, I'm going to show you what that product catalog will look like when it comes back, okay, from CSI. Okay, here's a spreadsheet of the generic product catalog tax mapped by CSI. So you see the codes they're entering. They're entering a group code and an item code, and they're doing it in accordance with their tax mapping guide. So for example, these equipment charges fall into a tax mapping code that is G001001, which is general sales code, and mostly the only thing you'll see on those are sales taxes. But as you go down here on these business extensions, we see the V001, 002 showing up, and we also see 25% for the federal USF PIU override, which is the USF percentage of interstate usage override. Now, let me state that you're gonna submit the form with your product catalog. Either you're gonna create it on the form or you're gonna upload it, and it's gonna go to CSI. They're gonna tax map it, and they're gonna make a determination on your PIU. Really, they're just setting it at a certain amount. 25% is pretty common, so they're going to set it at 25%. However, we need to hear from you. We'll ask you to confirm that you want to approve the tax mapping that CSI did, or you want to make any changes if your tax expert says differently. And we want to confirm that you want your PIU set to a certain amount. We're going to leave it at 25%. We'll ask you, and you'll need to tell us, no, I want to change it to 20%, or I want to change it to 15% or 30%, whatever it is, okay? So it's built into the price that CSI will tax map your product catalog for you the first time. And then after that, any changes, we highly recommend that you use a tax expert to make those decisions. So as we go back to the So that's the CSI product mapping guide. You could take this and you could give it to your tax expert if they're different. But I want to state this. We do recommend Compliance Solutions, CSI, for tax mapping, for tax compliance and reporting. We have a host of resellers that use Compliance Solutions, for their compliance and reporting. And I get very favorable ratings back on CSI's work for them. Now, I do have resellers that use other tax experts, and you can decide that as well. We just recommend CSI, and we find that they do a great job. If you want any information, their contact information is here. There's a Compliance Solutions brochure of their services here, and so we recommend you taking a look at that. Now, back to the product catalog creation form. Okay, so now that we've spoken about, creating your product catalog, now with the form, you can create it right here. You can put in your description, your price, your monthly. So if I said hosted extension for the first product, let's just say basic, and we'll say $19.95, and we'll say that's the monthly charge. Then you just click on add another product, and then you could put in the hosted extension basic setup charge, and in that case it might be $9.95 per extension, and then we'll say one time. And then for any rate plans, let's say we want to charge for toll-free inbound, and we want to charge 3.9 cents a minute. So we put toll-free inbound, 3.9 cents per minute. We would put the 3.9 cents in here, and we will put usage in the type. So that's how we're going to enter our product catalog, and then we're going to submit. Now, if you already have a product catalog, we do give you the option to upload your product catalog with choose file here. Now, keep in mind, we want it in a spreadsheet with an acceptable file extension type, and we have those here, and we want it with only the description, price, and type in the spreadsheet, just like we're doing here. And one other point about the description field. If your description field goes over 40 characters, so like in this case, back on this example statement, this, let me show you. So like this one went over 40 characters, and it spilled over into the other line. Hosted extension service DID 1 cloud extension. So what I'm wanting you to understand, if you go over 40 characters, it's going to push it down to another line. So just keep that in mind as you build your description, because these descriptions are the actual descriptions that show on the statement. And again, if you go over 40 characters, it's going to wrap in the text down to another line, and you're going to have 2 lines. So you might want to keep those brief. Again, you can upload your own product catalog if you have it, and that's fine. And remember that it'll take CSI up to 36 to 72 hours to tax map your product catalog. Once we get it back from CSI, it'll look like this, and we'll send you a copy. We're then going to take this and we're going to input it into Rev on your behalf. And so that's how the product creation and usage rate creation, usage rate plans get created for Rev.io. If you have any questions, you can open a ticket at support@skyswitch.com, or just open a ticket in our ticket system. Thank you very much.